I have here with me the itel P38 and the Redmi 9A. These are similarly priced devices. One comes from way back 2020, while the other here was released last month at the time of making this video. I know someone out there is wondering which of these devices they should get between the itel P38 and the Redmi 9A. I'm going to make this easy for you, and so without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. From the content of the boxes, it seems like the itel P38 is already taking the lead. Both obviously come with the smartphones, micro USB cables, but the itel P38 here takes the lead in terms of the accessories you get, such as the 15 watts charging system, as opposed to the 10 watt charger you get with the Redmi 9A. You also get extra accessories, including a phone case and a pair of wired earphones with the itel P38. Both smartphones are made out of plastic back and frames with a glass front. On these smartphones, the itel P38 and the Redmi 9A, you have dual SIM card trays and micro SD card expansion slots on the left side of these devices, and that's something we've come to see with a lot of devices. The single down-firing speaker is located for both at the bottom, adjacent to the microphone and micro USB port. While the headphone ports can be found at the bottom of the itel P38, the Redmi 9A here has the same port at the top corner of this device. I actually think I love it at the bottom position as with the itel P38. It's a personal preference thing here. In other news, there's no water resistance or Gorilla Glass protection for both smartphones. And as far as design goes, while the Redmi here feels like a little more sturdy device to hold, the red design on the itel P38 feels more modern and appealing to hold. You shouldn't expect a fingerprint scanner on the Redmi 9A, something that is available on the P38 here. But one thing I noticed in terms of the security on the itel device here is the fact that you do not get pattern unlock feature. So no pattern unlock on the itel P38, and you do not have the fingerprint scanner on the Redmi 9A. As far as the design and build quality on these devices, I tend to lean towards the itel P38 yet again. Now let's talk about the displays. The Redmi 9A is a huge 6.5-inch device, but itel here is an inch larger than this one, coming in at 6.6 inch in size. Both are IPS LCD panels, nothing fancy, with about the same 720 pixels in terms of the resolution. They give you about the same level of brightness under sunlight. Not the brightest devices do, but you should expect to get more saturated colors on the Redmi 9A as far as my test goes. When it comes to streaming videos, both displays max out at 1080p for YouTube. Generally, the Redmi 9A in terms of this display is more colorful, but you might have this green tint to your colors or display when viewing things on this device, and that's when compared side by side to the more cold, slightly bigger and less saturated panel on the itel P38. Now let's talk about the performance on this affordable devices. The Redmi 9A is powered by a MediaTek Helio G25 octa-core processor with 2 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of internal storage. Storage capacity is expandable via a micro SD card slot, while the itel P38 is powered by a quad-core Spectrum SC7731E processor with 2 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of internal storage, and also has that expandable memory feature using a micro SD card slot. The processors on both of these devices are not high-level performance, so you should expect lags from both smartphones. Of course, these smartphones can handle basic gaming and basic mobile computing tasks, but nothing really heavy or hardcore. Daily smartphone tasks are a breeze for both of them. When it comes to the operating system on both these devices and the UI, the Redmi 9A runs on the MIUI 12.0.5 global version on top of Android 10, and I really do love that skin on top of Android. But the itel P38 on the other hand runs on Android 11, the Go edition, and comes pre-installed with light Go applications that work nicely on the 2 gigs of RAM. So that's an operating system a year ahead of the Redmi 9A. Now let's talk about the cameras on these smartphones. I know you have been waiting for this part, the cameras. The Redmi 9A here has a single 30 megapixel rear camera sensor and an LED flash for the smartphone. Now the front side has a 5 megapixel unit, while the itel P38 here has a couple cameras here, 5 megapixels for the front-facing camera and a dual camera configuration at the rear, which are 8 megapixels and a QVGA sensor. Photos on the Redmi 9A, when taken with the rear camera, show good detail in daylight, and the color reproduction is quite accurate if you slightly undersaturates the photos here. While on the itel here, you can see that it lacks a little bit of saturation and detail, all thanks to that smaller sensor for the main camera. On the front camera side of things, shockingly, you'd notice a little more processing goes on with the itel device here. Something I thought would have been the case on the Redmi device here. There's more saturation and facial smoothing going on with the itel P38, and I don't know if that's something a lot of people would mess with. When it comes to the videos, you have a capped resolution of 1080p for the Redmi 9A and 720p for the itel P38. I actually did think that the video quality would have been a little better with the Redmi 9A for this reason, but that turned out not to be the case. The itel has a better color reproduction and stability as far as the videos for both the rear and the front cameras on this device. Both smartphones pack a huge 5000 mAh battery capacity and have long-lasting battery life, and I think both do a great job in this category. The only major difference in terms of powering these devices would be the charging bricks they come with. You get a 10-watt charger with the Redmi 9A, while the itel P38 gives you a 15-watt charging system, making it a faster device to charge from 0 to 100. Now, so you know, there's only a 2,000 naira difference between these two devices. You can get the Redmi 9A right now for 50,000 naira, while the itel P38 here comes in at 48,000 naira. Although these are two very similar devices, so much so that I can say that it's a close tie in this battle. Just slightly, I can see the reason why a lot more people might prefer the itel P38 to the Redmi 9A. First of all, the P38 runs on Android 11, which is more recent, and you have this 15-watt fast charging support, a fingerprint scanner, and also there's a 2,000 naira difference between these two smartphones. But guys, let me know if the slight better camera quality in terms of the photos is enough reason to forgo these features on the itel P38. And here's a better version of the itel P38, the itel P38 Pro. Day.